Hi, I'm here today with Paulina from Tropical Fish. If you can believe it, we are in Tuckahoe right now. We are in the basement of 25 Main Street in their studio, formerly known as Sonus Music Studios. And this is Paulina. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you. I'm really excited to show people some of the really more interesting stuff that we have here in Tuckahoe that people probably don't know about. And I know for a fact that anybody that comes down here is always really wowed by this space. So it's a really cool place to have in our town. So tell me a little bit about your background and where you're from.
So I'm from California, and I came to New York to go to school. And that's when I met John. And I was going to school in the city, and John brought me up here, and he's like, I have a studio. He had a little studio in actually down the street from here. I wanted to, start like a more like a something a little bigger in a bigger space, and more gear and more stuff, and that's how we ended up in this space.
That's amazing. What did you major in college that got you into studio and restoration?
I actually went to law school.
Okay.
I didn't really do anything that was like hands-on or anything like that. My dad fixed car washes, so he had like tools everywhere. But it just seeing like an old keyboard, and it's really gross, and then just like jumping in and being like, I know this doesn't have to be that gross. It could be like usable, and
yeah, that's really cool. Why Tuckahoe? What made you come to Tuckahoe?
John has a lot of roots in Tuckahoe, and he grew up nearby, and he's been here his whole life. He went to Berkeley in Boston, and this space, we just came in here, and it was just like the coolest space ever. It's an old Metro North building, and it was built like over 100 years ago. Before we got in here, it had like all the old machinery, and they had to like clean it out because it was dilapidated. So yeah.
Kind of similar to what you're doing now, but on a different level, right? So how did you guys get off the ground when you first came into the space?
So John, as a musician, he had a lot of like gear, and when you're a musician, you wanted just big money so that you can make music, and you tend to accumulate a lot of gear. So the thought behind it was, I have all this gear, I should rent it to people, and then get more gear, cooler gear with the proceeds, and make cooler music. So that's how we ended up into the keyboards, because we ended up discovering, we bought like an old Wurlitzer keyboard on Craigslist, and it was just like the coolest thing. We were just completely blown away by it, and we're like, we need 20 more of these. So,
and now you have probably 20 more of them, right?
Yeah.
That's fun. Some of these keyboards must have some real stories behind them too, which is really fun and interesting to think about who might have played them, or where they might have been at times, sort of an if these walls could talk type situation.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes like we have a keyboard on the other side, and it has a band name like spray painted onto it, like it was like in someone's back line, and also has a Bible verse on it, and it's like, who played this, who is this band. It's really cool. We had a keyboard, and the guy who owned it said that we didn't have any documentation for it, but the band Television played it, and that was very cool. And just like to have this like cool thing that this cool band that you love like took to like greasy bars, and just to play with it, and to clean it up, but not too much, because you don't want to get rid of the television patina.
Exactly. That actually adds value at that point, right? What are some of the greatest challenges you find about this business?
When you restore old instruments, there's a little bit of it being a little unpredictable, and like the amount of instruments that you have available to you, and like the amount of people who want to come and bring you instruments. And you know, sometimes we're like, maybe we should just be guitar dealers. But you know, there actually are a lot of them. There's more than you think. Like, the company was like a huge company for over 100 years, and they made these nonstop. They had like 2 factories, so there's a lot of them out there, and we're just constantly surprised by how many more we see every day. So you know, it's a little, from the day to day, it's a little bit unpredictable, but like, you know, if you look over time, it's, you know, it's pretty
consistent.
Consistent.
Yeah, that's great. So other than your studio here, what is one of your favorite spots in the neighborhood? Where do you guys like to hang out when you're not at work?
You know, my favorite thing to get around here are the Mexican chocolate cookies from Nutmeg.
They're really delicious.
Which is really convenient because they're just right up the street.
Right.
And also, like, the pizza places, there's so many of them, and like, I wouldn't get rid of a single one because
they all have something different to offer, right?
Yeah, exactly. I grew up in California. I never tasted pizza, like, for real.
Right.
I thought I was eating pizza, but I wasn't.
No.
So
that's something most people don't understand about New York. They think it's pizza, but it's not.
Yeah, it really isn't.
Which is really fun. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I hope everybody takes a look at Tropical Fish on their website, finds them on Instagram. You can see the tags below. Take a look at what they're doing. It's some really cool stuff, and we're really lucky to have such a fun, interesting business here in Tuckahoe. We will see you next time. Thank you.